This whole Scott Frost on the hot seat talk is complete garbage. 2019 wasn't really that bad in Lincoln. It's no secret that Scott Frost's reign as head coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers hasn't exactly gotten off to the right start. But if you really look in depth at 2019 specifically, you'll find out they were just a few factors away from possibly going to a decent bowl game. Coming into the 2019 season, a lot of people were looking at the Nebraska Cornhuskers as a dark horse pick to win the West. Nobody knew what Minnesota had in its arsenal at the time, and a lot of people thought, hey, maybe Wisconsin is just one-dimensional, so why not Nebraska? Adrian Martinez was coming off a really good freshman campaign, and speaking of dark horses, people thought he might be a dark horse Heisman candidate. And that's where we start our talking points with this 2019 season, is quarterback Adrian Martinez. He was not able to really get much going in terms of rhythm and consistency, in terms of successful play from game to game because of injuries. But let's look in depth. That Colorado game, they were up 17-0 halfway through the third quarter. Injury or not, that is a game that they shouldn't have lost. Part of that blame goes on the defense. A 34-31 overtime loss. Had Adrian Martinez not gotten banged up a little bit in that game, he might have been able to keep what he was doing going, and they might have came out with a victory. Adrian Martinez was out for 2 games this season. One of those games was their matchup against Indiana, in which they lost 38-31. I think it's safe to say if their starter is in that game, Nebraska comes out victorious against an Indiana team that, frankly, they probably had more talent. Following the Indiana game was the Purdue game. Now, this was Adrian Martinez's first game back, and a lot of times when you come off of an injury, that first game back can be a little bit sluggish. Same thing happened here. They only lost by 4 to Purdue. Once again, if these injuries don't happen to Adrian Martinez, he's able to put these successful games together. I don't think they lose to Purdue either. Now, the last game of the season was a close 3-point loss to Iowa. Now, Adrian Martinez had been playing a couple of games by then, and I think Iowa overall was a better football team than then. But let's take a look back. If they beat Colorado, Indiana, and Purdue with a healthy Adrian Martinez, they finish 8-4 on the season. 8-4, a lot different than 5-7. No hot seat talk. You can't help but go back and look back at what could have been. Now, if Nebraska goes 8-4, they play in a decent bowl game. Now, they wouldn't have had any shot at the West Division, considering losses to Iowa, Minnesota, Ohio State, and Wisconsin. But it's a building block, and I still think last year was a building block. That being said, what about the future at Nebraska? It is brighter than these 2 lights in front of me right now. Because of what's coming back, Adrian Martinez is back if he stays healthy. We know he can be one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. Dedrick Mills, the leading rusher on the team, he's back. Wan'Dale Robinson was a playmaker. He was a freshman last year. He's going to be back. Mo Washington was involved in that running game. He's going to be back. The only guy that they really don't see returning is J.D. Spielman. But regardless, Nebraska is still looking bright. A lot of their defenders are coming back. This is the year for Nebraska fans that they expect to turn the corner, make a bowl game, maybe upset a team or two. Hopefully, these fans will have smiles on their faces in Lincoln after 2020 or 2021. There's one more thing I want to touch on before I go in this video, is recruiting. Scott Frost's 2018, 2019, and 2020 recruiting classes all were top 20 in the nation, and all were top 5 in the conference. There's no doubt about it. Nebraska is trending up. It's just a matter of producing on the field, staying healthy. Because as we said in this video, if Adrian Martinez stays healthy, they're 8-4 a year ago, and they're looking for 10 wins this year. Thanks for watching Big Ten Ted on YouTube. For more great Big Ten football content from Lincoln to Piscataway, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time on Big Ten Ted.